I'm not a doctor, and so I brought one to explain to you a little bit about what we treat, what we are finding. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Joanne Damas. She is my medical director for our nonprofit and our board president.
Hi, thanks so much for having us here. I'm an emergency physician by training, and I got involved with Via Heart Project at the beginning because I got tired of being in the emergency room and having people come to me whose heart had stopped beating for 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes. It was devastating. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about who knows what sudden cardiac arrest is. A lot of you do, right? Are there a lot of people here who don't know what sudden cardiac arrest is? Okay, let me tell you what it is. What's the function of the heart? It's not the love machine on February the 14th. The function of the heart is it's a pump, right? This is all your heart does, 60 to 100 times a minute. It beats. It pumps blood to the body. So sudden cardiac arrest is when suddenly your heart stops beating. It stops beating effectively, no blood flow to the vital organs, you collapse and you start to die. And your brain starts to die in 4 to 6 minutes without oxygen. Is it important? Does this happen to a lot of people? I mean, for the people here, it's happened a lot because you're all here because you know somebody that this happened to. It happens a lot. 900 Americans a day die from this. Every 3 days we lose a young person to this, sudden cardiac arrest. So this is huge. 350,000 people a year, at least. More than lung cancer, breast cancer, and AIDS put together every year. Huge problem. So why are we passionate about it at VIA? Because this needs to be treated by you people, the non-medical people of the world. So if I were to collapse right now and drop dead, what are my chances of survival from a sudden cardiac arrest? Anybody? Horrible. 5%, maybe 10% on a good day. That's not worth my time as a physician to get out here and talk to you. But if I collapse and 911 gets called, right? And you start CPR on me, right? You start pushing on my chest to push blood up to my brain. What are my chances of survival? Better. Not great, but better. Maybe 10%, maybe 13%, maybe 15%. Still not great. Still don't have my attention. But what happens if I collapse, you call 911, you do CPR, and you grab that AED in that box over there and you use it on me? Now what are my chances of survival? Phenomenal. If you get to be fast enough, 48%, 68%, I'm gonna wake up and say, what are you doing? Why are you bothering me? So this is when we first started VIA, this is where we were at. We needed to get that machine out there. We needed to teach people how to do CPR. That machine is treatment, but it needs to get to the person before the paramedics can get there. Because by the time the paramedics get there, too much time has gone by, okay? If the brain is dying in 4 to 6 minutes, paramedics might not show up for 8 minutes, 12 minutes, 20 minutes in a rural area. So that's what our first beginning of Via Heart Project was. And then we started doing screenings.
Thank you, Joanne. So I started Via Heart Project to treat sudden cardiac arrest. And so we started by placing automated external defibrillators, AEDs, in schools and communities and businesses. We started teaching CPR. We taught teachers. We taught faculty. We taught the janitors at the schools. We taught the people that worked in the grocery store when they had an AED in the grocery store. We taught a lot of people how to do CPR. We placed a lot of AEDs. In the 8.5 years that I've had Via Heart Project, we've placed over 2,000 AEDs. And we maintain them. We make sure they have fresh batteries and pads when needed. We make sure that everybody's compliant with California's health and safety code. We make sure that people are getting trained in those locations. And to date, we've saved 26 lives with the AEDs that we've put out there.
Yay.
But I started to think about it, and we were treating, right? We've said treatment a lot. What we needed to do was prevent. And so I started focusing on prevention. I started attending heart screening events all across the United States, put on by parents who had lost children to cardiac arrest. and I learned. And so Via Heart Project had our first heart screening in March of 2015. And since then, we've had 10 heart screening events. We do 4 a year, all across Northern California. To date, we've screened 3,615. Sorry, that's wrong. 3,615. That is correct. That is what we screened. So we went to Cordova High School, September of 2016, here in your backyard, and we screened 286 kids. We found 3 that had potentially fatal heart defects. These are heart defects that could lead to sudden death before the age of 40. In September of 2017, we went back to Cordova High School, and we screened 402 kids. We found 5 with potentially fatal heart defects. Our screenings include vitals. We check their blood pressure and height, weight. They go to a health history review section where they talk with an RN about their personal and their family history. They learn hands-only CPR and how to use an AED. They meet with they get an EKG. So they get a 12-lead EKG at our heart screening so we can see the electrical output of the heart. They meet with a cardiologist. We have several cardiologists, pediatric cardiologists, and electrophysiologists that volunteer for us. And they meet with them and get a consult about what that EKG said and what their health history said. And then they also can get an echocardiogram. An echocardiogram is like an ultrasound of the heart. If you go to Stanford and get an echocardiogram, that's about a $4,000 to $6,000 test, and we give it to them for free. We get sponsors to do our screenings, so our screenings are free for every child and every family. And those children don't have to attend that school that is hosting that screening. All children between the ages of 12 and 25 can attend our events for free, thanks to the sponsors. We've now prevented more deaths through our heart screening program than we've saved with our AED program. We've saved 37 young children. We found 37 out of 3,615 that have potentially fatal heart defects that they did not know about before coming to our event. That's approximately 1 in every 100. Statistics say it should be 1 in every 300. We're finding 1 in every 100. I think the research needs to be updated. Our next screening in this area is going to be February of 2019. We hope to screen 500 kids at Cordova High School. Again, all your children are welcome no matter what school they go to, as long as they're between ages of 12 and 25. There's a couple people I want to have stand up here today. You guys have heard about Rocks for Ryan and Mari, who lost her son Ryan when he had cardiac arrest when he was 6 years old. And he passed away last May for long QT syndrome. And long QT syndrome is a heart defect that's easy to identify, relatively easy to identify with a simple 12-lead EKG. We also have Terry and Ted Lamphere. Would you mind standing, please, Terry and Ted? Terry and Ted lost their son Andrew when he was 11, about 7.5 years ago, to cardiac arrest. He had idiopathic hypertrophic subaortic stenosis. Basically, he died of having a big heart. Terry and Ted come and volunteer at our heart screening events, just like the Salazars came and volunteered at our last event, and we're happy to have them as a part of what we do to save young lives. So you guys are here today to play some poker. Yeah, thank you, Terry and Ted. You guys are here today to play some poker, and the money that you are donating to this organization goes to help fund organizations like mine. It helps to fund our screening programs, specific screening programs that give these screenings for free to families in your area. 500 kids next February at Folsom Cordova will get their heart screened, and it's because of you guys, so thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, it is time.